Hello and welcome everyone to this week's COT review. I'm Thomas from COTbase.com. Today we're going to be analyzing the 17th Commitments of Traders report of 2022. And as we always do, we shall start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. Before we jump to the review, just a brief reminder for those of you who are just joining in, COTbase.com offers a lot of educational material with regard to the Commitments of Traders report. We explain to you not only in written format, but we have some very useful videos as well, what this report is all about and what kind of tools there are to analyze it and how you can actually benefit from the valuable information it contains. So back to the review, and starting off with our first market, it will be copper, which is on top of our list with a 42% change in commercials net positions. This, of course, based on a 52-week look-back period. And of course, you can find commercials represented with this red line, green representing large speculators, and then we've got, of course, small speculators on a different scale chart because they're simply not trading in that big of a volume. You can see quite easily, I should say, if you compare this recent change size, the magnitude of that change to the past 1 year, we are of course looking at a 1 year time frame. It is the largest change. It is a very significant change in traders' net position. So it is suggesting a bullish move. You can look over here what happened in greater changes in the past. Not only do we have bullish COT chain signals, but bearish ones as well. I wouldn't consider COT chain signals as reliable as COT extremes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see copper fall another week and just get another big change in traders' positions. This is just a bit of a warning for those who are just starting off. But it is signaling that there's some serious changes happening in the mentality of traders as the market is headed lower. And of course, if we jump to the 5 years chart, we get an opportunity to examine the stress levels in the market. Now, going back just for a second to the 1 year's chart, I should point out we've got large speculators and commercials net short territory, just barely, but it is what it is. And only small speculators are optimistic about copper, meaning they are net long at the moment. But of course, we got to open a wider time frame to really see everything in a wider perspective. And you can see that the most bearish COT extremes were here, where commercials were almost 90,000 contracts net short, large speculators roughly 80,000 contracts net long, and of course they were the 10,000 contracts of the small speculators. And the most bullish COT extremes were back over here in 2019. We are more or less in between those two. So one could say that there is no extreme, but since this extreme that is present in the market happened about 2 years ago, it is an extreme that I should think we should understand it's there. It can increase to even greater levels if we see a drop, further decline in this market. But nevertheless, we can conclude that both of our major tools are pointing upwards for copper. So we have a bullish COT chain signal, and we have a more bullish picture from the stress analysis. The next market will be silver, another metal. Here we have a 31% change in commercials net positions. You can see that change size over there being definitely much greater than average, possibly the greatest change. It's hard to visually determine which one of these were greater. You can see here we had a significant change about a year ago in June, the end of June. You can see it did actually push the market higher, but there wasn't like a very obvious reaction. Here we have another bullish COT chain signal. You can see sometimes the market, grinds lower, and when we get these larger changes, it kind of halts the move lower. So we may see a bit of a bump back a bit to stronger levels in case of silver. And let's move on to the 5 year chart and examine the stress levels. So interesting that we are somewhat in between. We had this very large bearish extreme just before the COVID hit, and everything went down. Probably this wasn't building up because of people knowing about COVID, or I don't know. Nevertheless, it is what it is. And as that happened, of course, stress levels decreased from the bearish side and reached more bullish extreme zones, not necessarily the ones that we had in 2019 or 2018. These were beautiful, beautiful signals. We've moved away from those levels. So we'll see which way the market is headed. I definitely expect more bullish extremes to come in the next couple of weeks if this decline that's been going on since early March in silver continues. We shall see. The next market to analyze is platinum. Here we have, again, a 31% change in commercials net positions. Let's start with the 1 year chart. So again, we are talking about a much greater change in traders' positions. We are not surprised, of course. We are talking about correlating markets. So when there's a huge change in traders' positions in one metal, then of course we should expect larger changes in the other metals as well. Here we have that bullish change signal suggesting some strengthening in the next few days. And if we move on to the 5 years chart, you can see from the three metals that we've been analyzing by now, this one, platinum, seems to be the most strongest. So there's an indication from the COT report that based on this 188 report extreme, which is actually the case both in commercials and large speculators. And you can see on the chart what that means. We haven't had that extreme size since September of 2018, right? That was just a low over there. So this overall, the fact that we have these bullish change signals and bullish COT extremes overall in metals, I think is something quite interesting. And those who are holding long positions in these markets should be, these signals should be comforting. Again, not necessarily right away, but it is indicating that in the medium to long run, we should see higher prices coming. If we move on to large speculator COT extreme, you can see platinum is on top of our list. We just talked about it, so we're going to jump over that and open the British pound, where we have a 131 report extreme. So we are shifting our attention to a currency. This, of course, is the British pound futures market measured in US dollars. So, of course, for those of you who haven't noticed, we do offer the ability to change the market from British pound futures to the British pound USD currency pair, or you can actually flip reverse. And by the way, the COT charts will flip accordingly for those who trade the other way. So this is a significant bullish COT extreme. You can go back in time and see how the market reacted to these larger changes. You can see that pretty well is the answer. But of course, these COT extreme could be in the market for quite some time before it reacts. So nevertheless, it's good to know the British pound is producing significant buy signals. Copper, we talked about. Lean hogs then is the next one. 65 report extreme over here in large speculators position. This, of course, is becoming more of a bullish COT extreme situation, but nothing too exciting. And these are the cases where you just got to jump over if you're not specifically trading this market, but rather trading any opportunity. Then, of course, there's a bunch of markets to analyze. And last but not least, cotton, where we have a 39 report extreme. Again, not a huge extreme. You want to really open these 5 years chart to get a perspective of what's going on. We had a significant bearish COT extreme without any a reaction from the market. It's just headed higher and higher. Who knows? This could be a very unique commercial capitulation where simply they are getting margin calls, and that's kind of driving the market higher. We have seen this in cotton. If you go to our On COT page, you shall find explanation, and there is a cotton example for that. So that was all for this review. Don't forget, here at COTBase.com, there's so much to do with regard to the Commitments of Traders report. We, of course, only show you a few market categories in these reviews, but you can look at all of them if you become a subscriber. I hope you do. And we have all the newest COT report types, all the data types. You can, of course, do a more in-depth COT change analysis, a COT extreme analysis. You can look at the volume and open interest scores as well. You can go back in time and analyze a specific report if you wanted to. Of course, you can go dig deep in a specific market. We talked about the British pound. So here you can see, you can, first of all, switch between the report types, the data types if you wanted to. and then of course dig into the wonderful data that's available. Not only in this table format, but you just got to click on any of these lines, large speculators long positions for that matter, and here you go, you have it in, of course, 3 different data formats: futures only, futures and options only. We have some very useful indicators as well. The COT based Pro indicator, which includes everything you have for the website. So you get a website access, but above that, it gives you access to our indicators and tools within NinjaTrader, and you get the ability to download this wonderful data from our website directly. The ICOT intraday indicator, a wonderful tool for those who trade in a shorter time frame but love COT analysis. And here I can show you, this is gold on a 1-minute candlestick chart, that basically these indicators that are, this is the ICOT intraday indicator, very much works as one would expect from COT charts. And that was our aim, of course. After many, many years, we managed to create it. We have, of course, some very useful signaling tools as well. We do explain what these are, how you can use it. There are a bunch of videos out there for you. So yeah, a lot of tools, everything surrounding COT and the concepts of COT, stress analysis, and all that exciting stuff. So I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much for being with me. I wish you guys a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you in my next COT review. And I don't usually say this, but if you can, please subscribe and hit that like button. It does mean a lot for our channel. Take care. Goodbye.